Firstly, welcome back to the podcast. I spoke to you last week. What a week it's been since Sunday. Sunday, beaten 3-1 at Tynecastle. Monday, Brendan Rodgers resigns or is sacked. And we have the incredible statement from Dermot Desmond. Tuesday, Martin O'Neill and Sean Maloney unveiled as the new management team. Wednesday, a fan protest at Celtic Park before the game, followed by a triumphant return for O'Neill, a 4-0 win over Falkirk, who before the game was sixth in the league. Hearts drop points, get a last-minute goal disallowed. Hibs miss a penalty against Rangers. Michael, it's if anyone ever told you that Scottish football is boring, they're talking shite.
It's never boring. I mean, I didn't expect to be back on 5 or 6 days after waiting 5 years the first time around. And they say a week's a long time in football. Well, we're not even past that week yet. We've not even reached the week, and so much has happened. It's just incredible the stuff that's went on since Saturday. And I must point out that I got my prediction absolutely wrong for Sunday. I didn't think we would lose, no, and I was proven wrong in that. But a lot more encouraging last night, to be fair. But I really don't know where to start. So with what's going on, so maybe if you want to pick something, we can start for there, or should we start for the beginning? Should we start for Hearts and
right? I don't know myself. I'm just after getting back to the studio, back in from Glasgow. Flew home this morning, and before we start, Michael, I want to give a big shout out to all the Irish fans who are week in, week out in that airport and on boats. I met so many yesterday. A midweek game against Falkirk, when the team were not playing well. Nobody knew when these flights were booked or hotels were booked that Brendan Rodgers would be gone and Martin O'Neill would be back. And I think Martin coming back did add to season book holders going to the game that maybe would have said, nah, not going tonight. I'm going to give it a miss.
Right.
It's raining. I also think that the fan protest brought fans out as well that maybe, made the effort to get to the game. But just like last night, flights were cancelled back to Ireland today because of the weather. And I
Right.
feel sorry. Like I met Neville last night, who was over with his wife and 3 children. He'd paid a lot of money to get over, and his flight was cancelled. And he was still trying to. He'd come out with one of his boys for a beer with us after the game to the hotel, and he had to run back to his hotel to try and sort the flight. So, a lot goes. The fan commitment by so many people. When even people involved with committees and supporters clubs around the world, the work they do is incredible, and in their own spare time as well. So well done to all the Celtic fans who turned out last night, tuned in around the world, and continue to back the team, even though we have so much unrest around the
Yeah.
club. But firstly, Michael, right, I'm going to just say last night's performance, really good.
Yeah. I thought the crowd were a bit apprehensive the first until we opened the scoring. There was a bit of what's coming here. We weren't quite sure what we were going to get. If Martin O'Neill's to be believed, then Sean Maloney was the man that made the selection for the side. They started in the same familiar lineup that we've been using this season under Rodgers. So it was not really a surprise, given that they're in the door such a short time. I was a bit surprised again with a couple of the selections. I didn't expect Ralston and Forrest to come back in, but tried and tested, I suppose. So I suppose there was no room for error last night after going with the 2 younger guys at the weekend. I was really impressed with how fluid we were and how quickly we got the ball forward. It was a good first half performance. Falkirk are quite an expansive side the way they play football anyway, so you do get room to play against them. They don't come and park the bus like so many others, so there is a bit of room to play there. I thought Taneki was excellent. I thought he looked as if he was absolutely destroying him down that side of the park. No, great to see Maeda back. There were so many positives last night. It's unbelievable. I was half expecting somebody to turn around this morning and say that Martin O'Neill would go to job in the showers last night after that performance. So, but it was really encouraging and just shows you that the, there is a decent squad there. It's not as bad as what we thought. So there's still room for a lot of improvement, I think. But well, I think I know it's people say it's only Falkirk. We'll get a better measure of where we're really at, I think, come the weekend. But we're in a lot better place than we were 5 days ago. So, yeah,
Yeah, well, Matt O'Neill certainly got the new manager bounce that people talk about. You look at
yeah,
from Sunday, if Tati was dropped, Sean Maloney had spoke at the press conference about how he hadn't any time to work with the team. So basically, he gathered the senior players and he basically said, look, you just need to, grab this by the balls, basically, and get stuff going. And as you say, Rasnan and Forrest coming back in, O'Neill seemed to go for, Detroit and tested, as you said, and then
yeah,
Trusty's back in. He's been out of the team for a while with injuries and so forth. Siraji, Taney doesn't play. Siraji's in. I don't think Matt O'Neill even knew his name because in the press room last night when he was charming everybody with his wit and humour, he couldn't name check the captain and he couldn't name check the left back. He did. However, joke about Forrest being almost as old as him. And someone said to me last night at the game, "Was Forrest here when O'Neill was here?" And I says, "I think he was here when Billy McNeil was here."
aye,
He seems to be around the place that long. But in fairness to him, he had a good game. The senior players did step up, and I know Falkirk do come to play. But the first 20 minutes, I'm going like long balls down the channels,
yeah,
balls over the top, and absolutely delighted to see Johnny Kenny getting a couple of goals because like he
yeah,
was getting criticised by a section of the support, and really like he was getting into good positions. He just wasn't getting any luck.
yeah. I got a bit of luck last night, but strikers need that. He got into some really really good positions and two good finishes. I thought Negrin again getting into really good positions again. You should have maybe had added to
Frustrating
his
watching
goal
them at
tally.
times, isn't it?
It is, aye, but he's getting into the position. So I mean, I've been quite critical of him for we signed him, but I keep maintaining that he's getting into the positions to miss them. So, and it was a good header back for Kenny's second goal as well. So, so it shows he can head the ball, contrary to what we've seen in the previous couple of games. But I'm just a bit. I just find it a bit strange that Martin O'Neill's come in, yet Maloney's making the selections. I'm just wondering if Martin O'Neill's input's really that significant. And I'm just wondering if maybe he's just been put in there as a buffer between uh, the team and between Maloney basically and the supporters and the media. Because if they were just to throw Sean Maloney in there without Martin O'Neill at the helm, so to speak, I think the fans might have reacted a lot differently than they did last night. So, and we O'Neill saying that Sean Maloney's picked, it was his selections, then it makes me just wonder if he's just a buffer, no, to take the heat off Maloney a bit.
Yeah, well, people have said that. I see some of the comments from the chat I had with Matt McGlone about, and I said, I've always felt that Maloney was being groomed to replace Rogers. Now, whether it's tongue or cheek or I've wrote about it anyway, and
Yeah,
it's just a hunch. But there was one comment which I thought was brilliant. No, it was about no wonder you've no followers. Saying that he'll get the job. And I met a journalist last night in Glasgow, and the first thing he said to me, "Do you think he'll get the job?" So, I've someone saying I'm off me rocker, and then I've a journalist that's in the know saying, Do you think?" But look, it's there's a load of names in the fray, but at the
yeah,
moment, there's just so many. You could go into a kind of a tabloid mode and just start throwing out all these people, but at the moment, we have an interim management team, and they'll get the backing. after last night's result, O'Neill's an iconic hero. He was always going to get, and I totally agree with you. If Sean Maloney had been put in there, it would have been and named as the interim manager, there would have been
Yeah,
chaos. And it wouldn't have been fair on him either because he would have been just taking pelters. And if the result didn't go last night, well then the confidence around the club, around him, around the players, it would have been so low going into the game
yeah,
on Sunday. And now we go into the game on Sunday, Michael, where both teams have had a bounce from a new manager and good results. So it's all to play for on Sunday.
yeah.
But there'll be no ultras there.
No, no. But I'm sure this is the sort of game where you can do without them to an extent anyway, because it's a match that always generates a sort of specific atmosphere. So it's a match where everybody tends to join in with the singing rather than just leaving it to the ultras to do it. So it'll be a different atmosphere, but it'll still be noisy and stuff. So so I don't think that will really be too much to the detriment of the atmosphere, because I think it's still, although it'll still be reactive, the ultras tend to keep going when when the when the game is no running in their favour, whereas the general mainstream support tends to react to what's happening on the park rather than, and both have their pros and cons. Sometimes it can be a bit robotic coming for the ultras, where it's just a constant noise but no sort of a reactive noise. So we'll see how it goes. I'm sure if we're doing well in the game, there'll be no problem with noise coming for the Celtic end of the ground anyway.
So if the players can
Um,
get us, if the players can get a good start and get us off the atmosphere, because it's like we've seen all the images of Back to the Future, and when O'Neill came in, there was no ultras at Celtic Park.
no,
If memory serves me right, it would have
yeah,
been near the end of his tenure, I think, and so it will be Back to the Future, and
yeah,
it's
but
it's going to be a big occasion, and you know, what a lift it would give us if, to beat them and to be in a final. So
yeah,
it's like, and like, if they don't replace the management team, it would be incredible to see O'Neill lifting if he could win tomorrow and win the final, and, imagine O'Neill lifting a cup again, 20 years
yeah.
on.
Well, the thing is, I don't think there's any mad rush to be appointing a new coach. I think the most important thing is that we get somebody that suits, that brings a style that's suited to Celtic. I mean, there's a lot, as you say, there's a lot of names being thrown into the frame, but I don't think some of these would be possibilities. I don't think Knutson would come near us, given that he's supposedly knocked back Ajax. I might be wrong on that, but there's some really good managers there that are out of a job at the moment. Um, and obviously, we paid, if what we hear's correct, then Brendan Rodgers was on a big salary, so I don't think paying um, an elite manager will be the problem. I think it's coaxing them here with Scottish football and hopefully to draw a Champions League football. But I think Celtic fans are fickle as well. I mean, when Knutson and Enzo Maresca were mentioned last time around, there was a lot of, oh no, I don't think they would be able to. They're no good enough. They're no Celtic. No. And I'm like, God, well, just look at where they are now. Knutson's took his team to a European semi-final. Maresca's just went from strength to strength now at Chelsea, and there was doubters amongst the Celtic support that these guys could do it with us. I just think it's just crazy. I mean, and we tend to look for somebody that's got some sort of Celtic history. I just don't think that should be the way we're looking at it. I mean, it's got to be somebody that plays expansive football. I think that's important to the support. No, it's not just the fact. It's not just winning. It's the way we win that's important. And I think it's really important that we get the right guy in the door. So if Martin O'Neill, whether Martin O'Neill and Sean Maloney win this semi-final on Sunday, I don't think we should be rushing to make an appointment just for the sake of it. I think we should be making sure we get the right appointment. But after the statement that Desmond's released, that might be detrimental in his search for. I say his search because it is his search, because let's not beat about the bush here. He's not a majority shareholder, but he's calling all the shots. And the rest of the board just look like lackeys or stooges. When it partly due to that statement that was released, I thought it was a diabolical statement to be released, regardless of what's went on behind closed doors the other night. I just think it was a ridiculous statement to release, and it tried to absolve the board and him of any responsibility of the state we're in at the moment. So, anyway, I think I maybe went off on a tangent now.
Oh no, like it's he was back at the club last night. I was surprised to see him.
Yep.
He was, because I think the last time I seen him at a game was maybe Hampden for one of the finals. Like, you wouldn't normally see him. I sit in the main stand, so he's not too far away from me. So um, I was surprised to see him there, and I was also surprised to see Peter Lowell there. Peter's been missing in action for a while. It's been Nicholson at the end of the queue there, at the end of the seats, and he had to push up 2 seats to let the Dermot and Peter back in. Peter looked very tanned, I have to say. So he's obviously been away on holidays, getting away from I suppose, the madness that's been surrounding the club and the board. So,
All right, he's got a sunbed at home.
well, it could be, popular choice. I think he might have been in Turkey getting his teeth done as well. You never know. But so I was surprised to see him there, and then this morning I'm hearing whispers that there is going to be change in the board. Now, I haven't had any concrete.
Another Lord.
Willie Hockey's name still keeps getting thrown about this couple of weeks.
Another Lord.
Lord Hockey.
I'll not hide my disdain for that, but I just think it's I think they're just shuffling the deck chairs basically.
Or is it? Or will we see someone new coming in onto the board with, you would hope, new ideas?
Mm-hmm. Well, there's non-executive directors that have been there for 20 years, and that's no normal, by any stretch of imagination. And I think it is a lack of transparency of what these guys, and they're not a male, but what these guys actually doing, what they contribute. And that's why so many supporters just think, well, Desmond run the show and the rest of them do whatever he tells them to do. And I think that might well be the case in there. I mean, why did Nicholson not come out and speak the other night? I mean, he's not spoken in all the time he's been in position. So surely that should be his place rather than Dermot Desmond coming out and releasing a statement. I mean, who's not even the majority shareholder. Oh,
He came out. He came out like with the statement was Donald Trump-esque.
Oh, definitely. It was.
It was. There's no one bigger than Celtic except me.
It was like two exactly, but he said that there's no one bigger than Celtic. But it just smacked her. I'm in control. I'm the biggest guy here. That's what it matters. I'll have my say. I just thought it was absolute madness, no. And I mean, he's obviously been angry enough that he's felt that he had to come out and deliver that statement. But the thing is, it was just absolving themselves of any blame, and people. It just isn't washing with people. He's hoping that. I think that the hope is that we do get a bounce from Martin O'Neill and a sustained bounce, and everything just gets forgotten about. But that's not going to be the case this time. I don't believe the Celtic collective are just going to fade away as soon as results get better. That's not going to be the case. People have had enough. It's been long. It's been a long. It seems quite ironic, given that we've had such a sustained period of success for so long, no. But people are fed up. regardless of the success. And domestic success isn't enough. And it's the way that the field have been let down, especially on the European front, that it's really getting on a lot of people's goats, know what I mean, so to speak. But I just thought it was an absolutely crazy decision to release that. Oh, but he doesn't. If it had been anybody else releasing that would have probably been pulled back. But it was the fact that he was releasing it, so nobody probably had the audacity to say, "Look, don't put that out. That's just madness."
But the fact that it came out 15 minutes after the official, the official, thanks very much, good luck, all the best statement came out, so it's as if it was like, put that out.
And they mentioned John Kennedy and anything like that, which is quite strange, given
very 27 years at the club, a family history there as well, and nothing. Well, they did say eventually. They said I think it was changes in the coaching. Best of luck to the lads that had left, and welcome in the lads who have come in. So kind of another wrong goal, but it just seems to be like, well, fuck them.
There was an email. There was an email came out shortly after, but it was just to let us know that the Celtic Christmas store had opened, which is here we go again.
Surprised it wasn't a new Adidas pair of Jimmy Johnson off Henry Glasson socks or something. Number 7 socks.
Martin and Neil range of leisure wear, something like that.
I have to say, Martin was looking dapper last night. Brand new pair of football, brand new kit on. He looked well.
Give it time. Probably next week I'll be
it'd be funny if it wasn't funny. It'd be funny if it wasn't so serious. So, and then Brendan is, I suppose, no, you know what, Michael, the protest last night, I was standing over near the superstore and I couldn't hear anything, but I heard today that there was a problem with the PA.
Yeah.
Didn't hear any speakers.
Yeah.
But 5 to 7, when the noise started, you could see the crowd swelling. And somebody said to me, "Oh, look at them dafties. There's only a few of them." And I was going, "I don't think so." I said, one, they're not dafties, and two, maybe my eyes have deceived me, but there's a lot of people there.
I never made it myself, but I heard there was good numbers, and I've seen some pictures and stuff from it. So it looked like good numbers. I don't think this is going to disappear, regardless of how results go.
And again, I think now with Martin back and Brendan gone, Brendan, people who were saying nothing, were saying to me who would didn't have an opinion before Brendan went, were saying to me last night, blame him and blah blah blah. So the narrative is slowly changing, And as Joe Miller said to me in a text, I wouldn't trust any of them.
Yeah. You wouldn't buy a used car for any of them, I don't think.
That's average Joe Miller, not Joe Miller, the football player. I think it is. I'm hoping to have a chat with Joe over the weekend as well. Yeah, it's been a hectic couple of days. But I think we've addressed everything. And we look forward to Sunday. We're back on the road Sunday.
For more chaos, a different sort.
Yeah, again, I say to the lads this morning, when you're saying goodbye to the lads in the airport, the last question is, what flight you on Sunday? Or, and I met Kieran from Nave Park who flew to the game last night, but he generally runs the Nave Park bus. So he's flying over as well. He said they don't have a bus off, obviously not enough tickets or whatever. Yeah. But incredible the way, no matter, how the team are performing, or people are still prepared to spend so much money following the team.
Yeah, that's what you do. But that's the thing. That's bad habit you can't get away from. That's what I always say. Bad habit you can't get out of.
Well, as Matt McGlone said, you can't change your team. It's in your DNA, Well, Michael, we'll leave it there for now because I know you have a busy schedule. You have to pick the kids up.
Yeah.
And I have to walk the dog.
Chaos ensues in here after that.
Well, you pick the kids up, and I have to walk Henrik, so that's my next job. Michael,
Well, enjoy your walk.
thank you
Maybe
so
catch you
much
soon.
for getting or coming back on, and we'll talk to you soon. And folks, if you're tuning in on audio, you'll get us Spotify, Apple, any of the major podcast platforms. And if you're watching us on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button, because I'm getting slagged for not having enough subscribers and having crap content and tipping people for the Celtic job. It's only an opinion. Michael, thanks very much. Talk soon.
Thank you. Cheers, mate. Bye bye.